Yes, sir.
So can you tell me what do you mean by wrapper class? Yes, what is wrapper class and why it is needed in Java programming? Yes, Gautam, are you there? Pitroda Gautam.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so can you tell me what do you mean by abstract class?
I don't have idea about that, sir.
Why? Why you don't have any idea?
कल समझाया था?
We are discussing it since last 2 sessions.
Last 2 sessions. शायद
Yes.
सर मैं नहीं था.
Okay. So why you are not attending the sessions?
सर परसों हमारे फैमिली में एक्सपायर हो गए ना, 2 दिन से उधर थे इसलिए.
Okay. Yes, Darshan, are you there? Lakhani Darshan. Bhakti, are you there? Ketia Bhakti. See, again I am saying it is lost for you only. I don't have any problem if you will not speak. Ultimately, I am doing it for you only. And if you will not interact with me, if you will not contribute, then surely it is lost for you. And that's why in every session I am saying that you need to pay proper attention, because these subjects are very important, and you will surely miss this time. In the higher semester, whenever you will have those kind of requirements, you will feel that that was the great time, but at that time you will not be able to do anything, and you are taking it very lightly, and this is really going to be a big trouble for you. Okay, fine, but as I said, I don't want to waste time by giving unnecessary lecture. Darshan is already replying. Okay, great. So yeah, who will tell me what do you mean by a wrapper class? Why we are using it?
सर कैन आई?
Yes, yes, go ahead.
सर वो एक मतलब मेथड होती है जिसमें हम लोग प्रिमिटिव को ऑब्जेक्ट में और ऑब्जेक्ट को प्रिमिटिव में कन्वर्ट कर सकते हैं.
Very good. See, Smith has rightly said, whenever we have certain requirements where we want to convert primitives into object and object into primitives, then there is the concept which is available in Java, and that concept is known as wrapper class. Fine. And as I said, for each and every data type, there are dedicated wrapper classes. Yes, Abhishek, you are also right. Your answer is correct. Whenever we want to convert the value of primitives into object or object into primitives, then we can go with wrapper class. And we can go with two concepts which are auto boxing and unboxing. And
सर
sorry,
सर वो चेंज करते हैं या फिर वैल्यू ट्रांसफर करते हैं?
we are just transferring the value, but we can say that we have converted the object into primitives. Otherwise, we cannot do it. Fine. You cannot transfer the value of object to primitives, but using wrapper class you can do it. That's why I'm saying we are converting it. Is it fine?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, just a minute. So as I said, there are dedicated wrapper classes for each of the primitives. So there are such 8 wrapper classes available in Java. Fine. And in each wrapper class, there will be n number of inbuilt methods using which you can perform your task easily. As per your requirement, you can choose any specific methods. Fine. And already we have discussed integer and character wrapper class, if you remember. And in each wrapper class, there will be static and non-static methods. And now you know how to access static methods, how to access non-static methods. And so we have already discussed the static and non-static methods of 2 wrapper classes, which are integer and character. So far, if you have any doubt, then tell me. Otherwise, we can finish this topic in 5 to 10 minutes, because I don't want to repeat the same process for all 8 wrapper classes. I will do it for 2 to 3 classes only, because the method will be same for all the classes. So why should we waste the time? If you don't get it, then tell me. Then we can discuss it for all the classes. Any doubts so far? Yes.
No, sir.
Okay, great. What about others? If you are not able to get it, then tell me. We can revise it. As I said, the concept like wrapper classes, inheritance, abstract class, interface, exception handling, packages, these are the very interesting topics in Java, and it will be there in all the programming languages. So you should have enough grip on this. So still, if you are not getting, then tell me. I'm ready to revise the entire topic again if you are not getting, but I want interaction from you. I don't like to deliver one-way session. Many a times I said the same thing. Okay, mostly you are saying you don't have any doubt. So now let me share my screen again to complete the remaining wrapper classes. Yeah. So see, we were discussing about integer and character wrapper class, if you remember. Fine. And as I said, in each wrapper class, there will be static and non-static methods. And as per your requirement, you can use any methods. So you can see here, to access the methods of integer wrapper class, what we can do? We can create an object of integer class the way we are creating object for the ordinary class. Same way you can create an object of each wrapper class. Fine. You will have to follow the same syntax. Class name, object name equal to new class name. So here you can see I have created an object of integer wrapper class. And I have created a normal variable. I am converting this object into variable, or you can say I'm converting this object into primitives. Fine, and automatically it can be done thanks to wrapper class. We don't need to use any extra methods. But still, if you want to go with that, you can do it. You can see here. If you want to use the methods, then also you can do it. Fine. So whenever automatically, if it gets done, then that concept is known as auto boxing and unboxing. Fine, and you are aware about that concept. So here what we have done, using this integer class, I have tried to access many methods. You can see here, integer dot something, integer dot mean value, integer dot bytes, integer dot size, integer dot type, then integer dot compare, integer dot max. So these are the methods of integer wrapper class, and all of these methods are static methods because I am accessing it using class name itself. Without object, I am accessing it, and that's why the methods are static methods. And each method is having a specific task to do. If I want to find the size of integer, then I can go with integer.size. If I want to see what type it is, I will get integer type. If I want to compare two values, I can go with compare value or compare method. If I want to find maximum or minimum value, then I can use this method max. Is it fine? Any doubt so far? Then you can see if I want to convert any string value into integer, then I can go with parse int. If I want to find the binary value for any decimal value, then I can use toBinary string method. So there are such useful methods which are available in each wrapper classes. And that's why again and again I'm saying, as per your requirement, you will have to identify that which method is useful for fulfilling your requirement. And accordingly, you will have to use that method. That method could be from integer wrapper class, it could be from character, or it could be from any of the wrapper classes out of 8 classes. Simply you need to identify the methods. Fine, and I am not saying you need to remember all the methods of all the wrapper classes. You don't need to remember even a single method, but you just need to know how to use the methods, how to access it. Once you know that toBinary string is the method of integer wrapper class and this method is static method, if I want to access it, I can do it like this. So you'll have to just remember the syntax. I can use toBinary string method using integer class, and that's why I'm doing integer dot toBinary string. Rest of the things will be done by the method itself. You don't need to put any logic. This method will convert this 20 value, which is in decimal, it will convert into the binary. And here, whatever code I have put in comments, you can see all the methods I'm accessing using in. In is the object. And that's why these methods are non-static methods compared to float value, get class, and likewise there are many more methods. And so whenever you want to see how many static and non-static methods, at that time you can create an object of wrapper class, try to access the methods using object as well as try to access the methods using class, so that you will get access of both the kinds of methods, static and non-static. Are you getting me? So far, if you have any doubt, tell me.
No, sir.
Is it fine for everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. And likewise, we have discussed character wrapper class also. So now I want you to help me to find the methods of remaining wrapper class. So for example, if I want to access the methods of, let's say, double wrapper class, I want to access the methods of double. Can anyone tell me what should I do now?
Sir, static ki non-static?
Yes.
सर मैं पूछ रहा हूँ static की non-static?
I want to have access of both the methods, static as well as non-static.
नॉन के लिए तो ऑब्जेक्ट बनाना पड़ेगा और स्टैटिक के लिए तो आपको डबल ही लिखना.
Very good. So let's say first I'm creating an object double, let's say dub equal to new double, and here see again I can go with either double value or I can pass string value. Let me give any value, let's say 20.5. Now let me access the methods using object because I want to access non-static methods. So I'm using dub dot, and you can see if I want to convert this double value into byte, then I can go with byte value. Then I can compare the value of two objects using equals. I can compare two double value. I can convert the double value into float. I can find the class name. I can convert this value into integer. I can check whether this value is infinite or not. See, there are many methods. Even it includes the methods of thread also. It can convert the value in string also, so that you can assign this value to string variable. Fine. So these are the non-static methods. Every time whenever I click on any methods, you can see in the description part you will never find static keyword. It could be final, but static will not be there. See, toString is having a return type which is string. Sort value is having return type sort, but these methods are non-static methods. Are you getting this? So as per your need, you can use it. Let's say I want to see which class is it. I can go with get class method, and if I run this file, now let me put the other code in comment. So now there is only there are only 2 lines. So you can say I'm getting class java.lang.double. So I can come to know that this DUB object is of double class, and double class is defined in java.lang package. Fine. Now let's say I want to find how many static methods are there. Then what I can do? I can use class name itself, double dot. So again you can see I can find the range, minimum value, maximum value. I can find the maximum exponent value. I can find the size of this data type of this data type. Then again the similar methods are there: compare, double to long bits, hashcode, is finite, infinite. I can find the maximum and minimum value from the given double values. I can convert any string value into double also, the way we are using parse int. Similarly, I can go with parse double. If I want to convert any string value to double, then this is the method which I can use. Then toString, value of, and so these are the very important methods. Many times you need a value of and toString. These are the 2 methods which are very important. Whenever we will start applied programming, then toString is very much needed. Fine, because whenever we will try to set the text in button, label, or any control, at that time it must be in the form of string. And let's say I'm having integer value, or let's say I'm having float or double value, and I want to set that value in text field, then simply I cannot do it. I will have to convert that value into string, and for that I need to use this method, which is toString. So likewise you can use any method. Let's say for example I'm giving a 10.5, and here if I'm giving 20.6, and if I run this, you can see I'm getting 20.6, which is the maximum value. Fine, any doubt?
No, sir.
Yeah. So now, do you need me to create an object for all the remaining wrapper classes, or you think that you can do it by your own? Because the things will be very similar in each and every wrapper class. If I talk about byte wrapper class, then same thing you will have to do. Create an object of byte. Try to see how many methods are non-static. So for that, you can use the object. If you want to see how many static methods are there, you can simply use the class name, and you can see there will be more number of methods. And as per your need, you can access the methods. I am not saying this is very important method. If you want to find maximum value straight away, then without putting any condition, using this method only, you can do it. Normally what we are doing, we are using if condition to find which is the maximum value. Here you don't need to do it. This method will do it for you. You simply need to pass the parameters. Fine. So what do you think? Do you need me to go for all the wrapper classes, or it can be done by your own? What do you think?
सर हो जाएंगे वैसे, बट कोई ऐसा है जिसमें बहुत सारी या अलग से हो?
No. See, for all the 8 wrapper classes, the things will be very similar, and we already discussed integer and character wrapper class, which were very important. That's why I have covered both the classes. Because other than integer and character wrapper classes, we are rarely using the rest of the wrapper classes. See, these wrapper classes will be used in this case only, the way I have said. See, let's say if I want to convert the double value into string, then I can go with string. If I want to convert any string into double, then I can go with parse double. So rarely we are using these methods. And other than this, the methods like is finite, infinite, and these are rarely used. But still, if you have those kind of requirements, you can use the methods. That's why I said you need to understand which method is useful. That is the first requirement. To fulfill your requirement, which method is needed. Once you know that the method is parse double, now you know how to access it, how to use it. फाइन, तो अभी आपको इतना ही पता होना चाहिए कि मुझे कोई भी मेथड को एक्सेस कैसे करना है, whether it is parse double, whether it is parse int, whether it is to string, whether it is to binary string. It can be any methods as per your logic, as per your requirement. बट आपको ऐसा पता होना चाहिए कि फॉर एग्जांपल मुझे कोई स्ट्रिंग वैल्यू को डबल में कन्वर्ट करनी है, तो उसके लिए ये मेथड इंपॉर्टेंट है पास डबल. वो आपको पता चल गया थ्रू इंटरनेट, थ्रू एनीवेयर. तो अभी आपको वो पता होना चाहिए कि इस मेथड को यूज कैसे करना है. तो आपको पता है कि पास डबल मेथड है वो स्टैटिक मेथड है. स्टैटिक मेथड को एक्सेस करने के लिए मुझे क्लास नेम चाहिए. इसका जो क्लास है वो डबल है, यहाँ पे लिखा होगा, यू कैन सी java.lang.double. फाइन, सो यहाँ से आपको क्लास नेम मिल जाएगा. तो यू कैन यूज डबल डॉट, देन यू कैन राइट द मेथड्स व्हिच इज पास डबल, एंड एज ए पैरामीटर इट सेज दैट यू नीड टू गिव स्ट्रिंग वैल्यू. तो वो स्ट्रिंग में आपने लिख दिया 10.5. earlier it was string, now it will be converted into double, something like this. Is it fine?
Yes sir.
Yeah, so other than this there is nothing to discuss. For all the remaining wrapper classes you will find the same thing. For example, if I talk about byte class, let me just give an example. Byte b equal to new byte, let's say I'm giving 10. Sorry, not 10, I think it's b1.
सर
yeah,
सर वेटिंग लॉबी में वो हर्ष है उसको ऐड कीजिए.
yes, I'm doing it, but from other system I was not able to do it. Just a minute. Yeah, what byte value could be there?
थ्री फोर ऐसा कुछ नहीं ले सकते?
Oh, but why I'm getting an error? Split into declaration and assignment. What is the problem?
सर बी पहले से तो नहीं?
नहीं वो नहीं है यहाँ पे. It says that it is an integer value. You need to convert. Okay, so we can do, let's say byte byte d is for example 10, and if we can pass d, yeah. So it says that if I am giving integer value, see straight away this parameter says I need byte value only, but if I write let's say 2, then 2 is an integer, and that's why I'm getting an error. You can see what it says: no suitable constructor found for byte integer. The constructor says it must be byte only, so you need to give byte value only. So either if you want to give 10, then you need to convert 10 into byte. So probably I can do it like this, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, you can see now I'm not getting any error because I need to do typecasting. Are you getting this concept?
Yes.
Yeah, so either you can do this, this is known as typecasting, or you can simply create one byte variable and you can assign the value. Now for example, I want to see how many static and non-static methods are there. I can use b dot You can see there are very less methods. Byte value compared to, so most of the methods are same for all the classes. That's why I am saying that I don't need to waste time. Similarly, if I want to find static methods, I can write byte dot. See, these are the static methods of byte class. I can find range, I can find size, type, I can compare 2 byte values, I can decode it, I can find the S code. For any string, I can convert it into byte also. Parse int, parse byte, parse double, parse float, everything is there. I can convert byte value into string using toString method. So toString is applicable for all the wrapper classes and for all the data types. From any data type, if I want to convert the value into string, then simply I can use toString method. Whether it is integer value, float value, double value, long value, short value, whatever. But toString method will convert the given value into string data type. So this is very interesting and important method. And this is widely used method. The rest of the methods are same. I can find value of string, I can find value of byte. Fine, I can even find class name. If I go with byte.size, then you can see by mistake I have clicked on debug. You can see it's 8 bits. Fine. So likewise, you can go with all the wrapper classes. So now tell me if you have any doubt and if you want to discuss all the other remaining wrapper classes. Otherwise, we can start the new topic, which is string handling in Java, or the string functions in Java, which is also very important topic. Any doubt?
Boolean कैसे होगा?
Yeah, for Boolean also you can create an object. Let's say Boolean b, not b, but let me go with b1 equal to new Boolean, and let me give true or false because it needs Boolean value only. So either I can go with true or false. And now if I want to see how many methods are there, then you can see b1 dot Boolean value compared to equals get class. So what I can do, let me just give an example. Let's say I have created two objects of Boolean. Let's say b1 and b2. And here I'm giving false instead of true. Let me give false. So you can see b1 will refer true, b2 will refer false. And if I compare it, b1 dot compare to b2, what do you think? What will be the output?
सर -1 टाइप में आएगा इसका वो क्या था?
Correct. See, if both are equal, then you will get 0. If both are not equal, and if you don't know what it will give, then you can simply go through the description of this method. If I click on compare to, see everything is written here. It compares the Boolean instance with another. And see what it returns: 0 if this object represents the same Boolean value as the argument. A positive value if this object represents true and the argument represents false. And a negative value if this object represents false and the argument represents true. So what it is saying, वो ऐसा बोल रहा है कि यहाँ पे जो ऑब्जेक्ट है b1 ट्रू है और आर्गुमेंट में फॉल्स है तो वो 1 रिटर्न करेगा, b1 फॉल्स है और आर्गुमेंट में ट्रू है तो वो -1 करेगा, और बोथ आर सेम देन इट विल गिव 0. So let me write true here. And now if I use b1 dot compare to b2, then surely I will get 0. You can see 0 means both are same, and based on that value I can perform my logic. I can write if b1 dot, see again one method is there, equals. This also I can do, and here I can put my logic. I can display anything. Let's say both are same. If b1 dot equals b2, then I can display both are same, and I'm getting it, both are same. And so such methods are important. Whenever you have certain requirements, you can use it. Let me see if other methods are there. B1 dot equals and compare to. Mostly we are using these two methods, and toString is always there. Now let me see what are the non-static methods which are available. Boolean dot, when compare is there, parse boolean toString value of, yeah, that's it. So mostly you will need compare and parse boolean and toString, that's it. And here you can see whenever you want to perform logical and or logical or operation, XOR even, you can do it using these methods. यहाँ पे आप पहला पैरामीटर है वो जो बुलियन है, दूसरा भी बुलियन है, तो यहाँ पे ट्रू, यहाँ पे फॉल्स, and you can get the value of logical AND. For example, if I'm using it, and let's say I'm using true, can anyone tell me what will be the output for logical AND? And for that you need to remember the truth table which you were studying in digital electronics.
ट्रू का
true.
1 है.
One means true.
Yes.
Yeah, so you can say I'm getting true. True, false, what is it?
False.
False आएगा.
And you can say it is false. And similarly, if you want to perform logical OR, then instead of this you can use OR operation. What do you think? True, false?
True.
False.
True, correct.
True.
And so for that you need to remember the theory of all the gates which were there in the digital electronics. So I don't want to go in that theory, but I just want you to see how you can use these methods. Is it fine?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So now do you want me to discuss any other wrapper class?
No, sir.
Even boolean.type will give the type. See, the type is boolean. This is the data type. So here, if you don't have any doubt, I am done with the wrapper classes. Fine. Any doubt so far regarding wrapper class? Otherwise, I'm about to complete this topic, wrapper class, and I'll start the new topic. I will just give the introduction of string, and in the next session we will see the methods of string class.
Okay, sir.
Any doubt so far?
No, sir.
Nope, sir.
Okay, great. So now we are going to start the new topic, which is string functions in Java. So before I start this topic, can anyone tell me what do you mean by string? Whatever you know, you can speak. What do you mean by string?
Sir, characters
Yes.
collectively लिखे हुए.
Very good. One answer is a collection of characters. What about
डेटा
others?
टाइप है स्ट्रिंग एक डेटा टाइप है
Very good. Other answer is it's a
Primitive.
data type. It's a data type, primitive. What else? What else? No one? Can anyone tell me if I say that string is also a class? Is it true?
यस
Yes. Then is it a data type or it's a class? What do you think? Because it cannot be both. String cannot be data type and class.
तो सर ऐसा कह
सर
सकते हैं कि
क्लास
स्ट्रिंग एक इनबिल्ट क्लास।
Correct. String is one of the inbuilt class. Then you cannot say that string is a data type. You can use string as a data type, but it's not a data type. Are you getting me? In Java, string is an inbuilt class. And inside this class, there will be many methods. And you can access it. But what if I want to go with string as a data type? That also I can do. So there are two ways to access string values. As Jatin has rightly said, we can say that string is basically a collection of various characters, or you can say sequence of character values. Fine. It's an array of character, and that can be considered a string. So for example, if I write one character array, let's say character C, and if I define an array, and here let me go with static array. If I write let's say A, B and C and D, for example, then what do you think? What is it?
character array.
Yes, it is a character array, and we can consider this array as a string also. If we club it together, then it will be A, B, C, D, and that will be a string value. And so what you can do, you can create a string object like this. Let's say string s equal to new string, and while creating object, you can pass this array so that all the values will be clubbed together. Can anyone tell me, whenever I pass array name anywhere, what output I will get? See, here C is an array, and I'm just giving the name of array. I'm not using any index. I'm not writing C of 0, C of 1. What if I write name of the array anywhere in any programming languages?
ये जो आपने एरे
Entire
लिया
array
सब
pass.
print होगा।
Sorry?
ऋषि तू बोल दे।
entire array pass होगा.
No. For example, if I write
index.
if I write integer, let's say one array, this is A, and here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever values are there. Now if I write system.out.println, and I'm using A only. If I write A of 0, then what will be the output?
1.
1, correct.
One.
Now I don't want to pass index. I want to write A only. What output I will get?
सर ऑटोमेटिक सम हो जाएगा इन सब का?
Automatic?
सम हो जाएगा इन सब का?
No. How it can do summation of all the elements?
Error आएगी.
Error आएगी. Okay, let me just write. Let me do in a random value only. Here let me create one array. I am not getting any error. Have you ever tried this?
नो सर, मेरे को लगता है सर 1 प्रिंट हो जाएगा, ऐसे डिफॉल्ट ले लेगा वो।
No, 1 will also not be there. See, तो अभी मेरा पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू ऐसा ही है कि कभी भी आपको कोई नया टॉपिक अभी मैं समझा रहा हूँ, तो आपको उसमें ज्यादा से ज्यादा ट्राई करनी है, कुछ भी हो। फॉर एग्जाम्पल, आपको सी लैंग्वेज में ऐसा सिखा दिया कि ऐसे एरे क्रिएट करते हैं, and to access their element you can write array index like this, a of I, and you know that if you will do like this, not I but let's say a of 0, if you know that if I write a of 0, then I will get the first element, because index will start from 0. And if I run this file, then surely I will get 1. If I change this index, if I write 1, then I'll get 2. Fine, so I'm getting 2. तो कभी आपको ऐसा भी करना पड़ता है, आपको बिना इंडेक्स उसको कैसे प्रिंट करते हैं, क्या होता है, वो आपको क्वेश्चन होना चाहिए. So remember that whenever you pass array name, then it will give the base address of your array elements. So here what will be the case? Whenever you define array like this, there are 8 elements, and for each integer in Java it will reserve 4 bytes. Again I am saying, for each integer it will reserve 4 bytes. So as of now I am having 8 elements, so 8 into 4 it will reserve 32 bytes. Fine. तो वो 32 bytes कैसे होगा? वो ऐसे होगा कि यहाँ पे let's say this is my memory block, and for all 8 elements, let's say there are 8 blocks. Like this, and there will be the starting memory address, which is known as base address. Let's say base address is 1000. So now for the remaining elements, the address will be, let's say for one integer it will reserve 4 bytes, so this would be 1004. Next would be 1008. Next would be 1012. Then it would be 1016. Are you getting me? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So base address would be 1000. Then it will reserve 4 bytes. So next element would be at 1004. Again, it will reserve 4 bytes. So likewise, it will allocate the address for all the remaining elements. So whenever I want to find the base address, see, you don't need to find the address of all the remaining elements. Once you have base address, you can find the rest of the elements. You just need to increment the address. So here if I give A, then I will always get the base address of this array. Let me just run this file. See, this is the address, starting address of this array. And similarly, if I create one more array, let's say integer B, 1 2 3, and if I print the value of B, then in that case I will get the base address of the second array. And you can see both the addresses are different. So for first array, address will start from, let's say 9742, and then for rest of the elements it will increment the address by 4, because for each integer it will reserve 4 bytes. For second array, I'm getting different address. Are you getting me? So whenever you give the array name, then always it gives base address. This is very important question for your knowledge. Base address of an array in any programming languages. I am not saying in array in Java only. In any programming languages, whenever you try to create an array, and if you try to print the array name, then you will always get the base address. Is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So now, here what I have done, I have created an object of string class, and while creating an object, I have passed this array name, which is C. So ultimately, I'm getting the base address, and at that base address, whatever value is there, from that address, it will club all the other remaining elements. So A, B, C, and D, it will be clubbed together, and this object S will refer the entire string. So ultimately, whenever I will print S, then I will get ABCD. That we are going to implement in the next session. So at that time, it will be more clear. But one more thing I want to introduce is, for defining this string value, you don't need to even create an object every time. Otherwise, if you want to define string value in Java, you can do like this: string S1, let's say equal to new string, and here I can give any string. Let's say welcome. It means that s1 will refer welcome. S1 is having value which is welcome. If I print S1, then surely I will get welcome. Let me just try it.
सर बाय द वे ये रिकॉर्डिंग रुक गई है क्या 39 ऐसा लिखा आ रहा 39:55 पे
ऐसा है?
चल ही नहीं रही आगे
ना सर आले है
Yeah, it's going.
मेरे में बंद दिखा रहा है
No, it's going.
ओके सर
Yeah. So here if I print S1, then surely I'll get welcome. You can see I'm getting welcome. Fine. But the alternate way of this is you can simply define the variable like this also. The way you are doing it for other data types. Let's say welcome to Java string. This is equivalent to this one. So either you can create an object or you can simply assign the value to this object. This is also an object because string is the class. Fine. And you can print the value of S2. Then also it will work. You can say I'm getting welcome to Java programming. But the only disadvantage of doing this is by doing this you cannot access the methods of string class. If you want to access the methods of string class, you need object, and that's why I'm creating an object using new keyword so that I can get access of all the methods of string class. So for example, if I want to see how many methods are there, I can do it like this. cs1 dot caret compare to concat contains, and I'm having list of all the methods in my doc file also. You can see. This is what we are going to discuss in the next session. There are more than 28 methods, but these are the methods which can be very useful, and we will discuss each method in detail with an example. We will discuss all 28 methods, and because all the methods are very useful. So in the next session we will discuss this, but that's why I'm saying if you want to access all those methods, then you need object. Otherwise, for getting the normal string, you don't need to create an object. You can simply do it the way we are doing it for the other data types or for the other variables. So there are two ways. Either you can do like this or you can do like this. Are you getting me? What I'm trying to convince you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So now in the next session, I will let you know about the few more understanding about string class, and then we will discuss all of these methods. So in this topic, we just need to discuss all 28 methods, and I'm damn sure that once I will complete the string handling, then you will come to know about the use of each and every method. There are few methods which are not useful and which we will not discuss, like this method. Method is very important, but as of now you don't have an idea about interface and all, so you will not be able to understand this. So I will skip few methods, but otherwise around 24 to 25 methods are very useful, and easily you will be able to understand it. So tomorrow only we will discuss these methods. Is it fine?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so now tell me if you have any doubt, otherwise you can have a break and then you can join the next session.
सर हम लोगों का कॉलेज कब से स्टार्ट हो रहा है?
See, actually, again, the discussion is going on, and already final year students have started to come at the campus. And if I'm not wrong, then around 10th of February, you will get a chance to be here. As of now, our management has also given the permission. So meanwhile, you can have a talk with your parents, and the only condition is you will have to get the agreement from your parents that if you are going at the campus, then it will be totally your responsibility. Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so if you and your parents are agreed, then management is also agreed, and we can meet physically and we can start these sessions. But still, a discussion is going on. Once everything will be finalized, surely I will let you know.
एंड सर एग्जाम फिर हमारी किस तरीके से होंगी?
Your CA1 exam would be again online exam, MCQ exam, the way you have given all the other exams. But for CA2 and final exams, I am not sure, because if you will get chance to be here physically, then surely you will have different examination pattern, because still we have enough time. Your exam will be in the
Yes,
month
sir.
of May, so we have around 3 months. And if we can meet physically, then we can do whatever we want. And even I want you to be here because this semester is very important for you.
Okay, sir.
And any other doubts, any other questions?
No, sir.
Okay, great. Then you can have a break and then join the next session. I'm going to end this session. Bye bye. Take care, everyone.
Thank you, sir. Bye.
Yeah, bye.
Okay, bye.